There's one essential, and I say essential because it is distinction to make, and that is motivation. Believe it or not, motivation is useless for high performance. Welcome everybody, my name is Nicholas, and here on this channel I will give you some psychological and neuroscientific insight into how our brain works, that is from a psychological and a biological standpoint, and how you can increase your productivity and the quality of your life in general. Now, in today's video, which will be part 1 by the way, I will explain the keys to reach high performance and why your subconscious beliefs are the basis of your long-term success, fulfillment, and even happiness. Now about me, I'm a neuroscientist with knowledge about the psychological and biological mechanisms in our brain. I'm a high-performance advocate and early coach, a dementia researcher, and currently a PhD student at Lancaster University, developing a drug to treat Alzheimer's disease. In other words, I'm developing a drug to deal with memory loss during aging. I also previously worked as project manager in the pharmaceutical industry and as visiting research scientist in other labs, but that will not be the topic for today. Because today, I will share with you some insight into how our fascinating brain works. More precisely, I will discuss the link between high performance and our subconscious beliefs. Now, I split this video into 3 parts. The first part will be the basics of high performance and why you want to be a high performer as well. The second part will be about what it takes to become a high performer and to be incredibly successful. And lastly, the third part of the video that will be about why our subconscious beliefs are the key to grit, high performance, how you feel, and ultimately long-term success. Now, first and foremost, let's get started with the basics. So what you should know. So what is high performance? Now, the meaning of high performance is that you're able to continuously exceed expectations, and to do that in the long term. That means that you achieve more than your peers do using the same time or less time. High performance also means, besides of course having high productivity, that you have an overall balanced life, that you are able to address and enjoy all of your life areas. And the question of course is, how do you do that? So in order to reach high performance, what you need is the basics. That would be smart time management, weekly and daily goal setting, planning and scheduling of key tasks, so don't waste your time by checking your emails. I mean, those everyone should know that. And other productivity principles. I can get into these in another video, so just let me know in the comments if you want to see that as well. And what you need to know is the reality is they teach you that everywhere, those techniques, but they actually are only the tip of the iceberg. They only account for 5% of your actual success. Because the thing is, if you want to do this in the long term, that means if you want to continue taking action without losing motivation, if you want to create habits that stick, if you want to cultivate high performance, that is, then our subconscious mind must be addressed. In other words, we need to learn controlling our emotions, we need to adopt useful habits, and most importantly, we need to adopt empowering beliefs that allow us to take action over the upcoming years. And I'm talking years. You don't just want to be motivated for single days. So you want to work for the upcoming years, especially when hardship and misfortune strike, when you fail. And I found a nice quote by high performance psychologist Michael Gervais, and he said that at the elite level, talent and ability are actually mostly equal. So what is the difference? And the difference is in the head. High performance pretty much is 90% mental. And most of this mental edge, it comes from your ability to control your thoughts. So in other words, it's how we internally represent ourselves. That means how we picture ourselves in our mind, what we say to ourselves, that our self-talk, and most importantly, what our subconscious beliefs are. That is what matters for productivity and performance in the long term. Now that we have that out of the way, what is high performance? What does it need to be productive? What we need next, what I will get into next, is what does it actually need to be a high performer? Now, from a high performance and a success perspective, the reality is it will get hard. It will get freaking hard, in fact. Now, for example, if you're an entrepreneur trying to run your own business, then you have to expect to put in hard work and to expect nothing in return for the next 10 to 20 years. And you need to put in hard work every day. Things will go wrong. You will fail. To give an example, I had an experiment in the lab, tried to make something work, and I failed for 3 freaking months straight until I changed my approach and finally got it. So you have to have the ability to power through those failures. And it might even be worse, you might even get close to facing bankruptcy. A nice example I like to cite is from Elon Musk. You probably know him, he's the SpaceX and Tesla boss, soon the richest man in the world. And he actually lost his entire fortune. He almost lost his entire fortune, which is $170 million, after he failed 3 rocket launches. He even had to borrow money from friends to pay for his daily living expenses. And this guy, he's the richest man in the world. So, to put this all together, what you need is not only a great work ethic, but what you truly need is to build mental toughness. It's what we call grit from a psychological standpoint. Now, grit, what does it mean? Now, there are actually 4 things that you need to acquire specifically to have high grit. The first thing is perseverance. Perseverance. That means you need to learn to keep going even if you don't feel like it, when things seem unfair, when you fail. And that is, simply put, because it's inevitable. It will get hard. And those people that are able to deal with the hardship, those are the people that are incredibly successful. Those are the Elon Musks and the other guys you see out there. The second thing that you need to master to reach high performance and to develop high grit is fear mastery. Now, funny fact I learned is that high performance and the most successful people in general, many of them, they actually seek fear on purpose. They do things because they fear them. And why would they do that? It's actually very simple, because the idea is to get used to it. That means to learn to manage the fear and to learn to take action regardless. Because those people that learn to take action regardless of fear, once again, those are the high performers and the extremely successful people that you see out there. Then the third point of grit, that would be to be at your best when you are at your worst. The reality is you will never be prepared. You will never feel like it. So let's just do the reverse. Let's just try to be at your best when you are at your worst, and do it regardless. To give you an example here, just imagine giving a speech. Let's say public speaking scares you. What you could do to practice this, for example, is just to pick a horrific day to practice speaking. You could have 3 hours of sleep, for example. You could have had a long day of work, maybe 8 to 10 hours. And then just at the end of the day, just decide to invite your friends. Invite them over. And then give the talk while feeling horrific. Why is it useful? Simply because you get used to giving the talk while feeling absolutely horrific. And when you get to the actual talk, that is when you hopefully had enough sleep, maybe you had an extra coffee, then the talk itself will be a breeze. So once again, the ability to expose yourself to your fears increases with your ability to be at your best when you are at your worst. That is what will increase your grit. And the fourth point, which is the last point of grit that you need to reach high performance, is thought control. Now, our mind is simple. It's simple-minded. It's interested in our survival. Simply put, if there's no need to do something, then your mind will tell you, don't do it. Stop it. Save energy. Why the hell would you move your ass? So, simply put, if we want to do something that triggers fear, for example, public speaking once again, then your mind will tell you to not do it. Simply put, because it's fearful, it might harm your survival, so your mind will talk you out of it. Notably, public speaking, it's a funny fact I learned, that is the fact that social fear and physical fear, they activate the same fear pathways in your brain, which is also one of the reasons why public speaking is actually one of the biggest sources of fear in the world. But that's just a funny side effect. In any case, the point being is that we need to learn to control our thoughts in face of fear, in face of failure, when we make mistakes, when we are disappointed, when we don't get any results, or maybe when we get little to no return for the immense amount of time that we invest. What it means is that we need to control our thoughts in a way that we take action regardless, no matter what happens. And again, those that have learned so, those are peak and high performers. Now that we have those forms of grit, there's one essential, and I say essential because it is this distinction to make, and that is motivation. Believe it or not, motivation is useless for high performance. You might think, what the hell is he talking about? But what you need to remember is that motivation is an emotion. It's like sadness, happiness. It fades. It fades very quickly, in fact. And what it means is that you cannot rely on it. You cannot rely on motivation. If you have to be motivated every single time you want to start working, you probably will not be working much. Point being is that we have good days, we have bad days. We might be more motivated on one days than we are on others. But true high performance, that means the ability to be productive no matter what, means by definition that you cannot rely on your emotions. On the other hand, that's also a funny point that you need to keep in mind, that's that motivation is actually disadvantages. Why is that? Let's look at the typical New Year resolutioner. What they will do is they will incredibly motivated, they want to change their lives, are incredibly motivated, they run into the gym, do their 1 million sit-ups, radically change their diet, cut out everything, eat salad only, and what will happen is they will overreach. They will absolutely overdo it. It's likely that they will get horrendous soreness from the intense gym workouts that they do, and then by radically changing their diet from one day to another, they will probably start to get cravings and overeat. So the net result will be that they will give up, probably within a few weeks, and get nothing accomplished. On the other hand, had they done it stepwise, not relying on their motivation, and had they done it with a planned manner, then I would have been much more successful, and it would have been much more sustainable. Now, of course, the question is, what actually matters if motivation doesn't matter? Now, don't get me wrong, curiosity, motivation, passion, drive, all of these things, they are emotional forces that get us into the game. They are what gets us started towards our goals, and they serve as an energy source. They also make us feel good, so we want them. However, what we truly need to be successful in the long term, that is grit. And how do we build grit? Or what is grit dependent on? And the key to once again building grit and to establish our long-term success are our beliefs. Now, our beliefs, they're pretty much formed in our subconscious mind using all of the information, experiences, and ideas that we picked up over our lifetime, and they control how we behave. In other words, our beliefs dictate how we react to a negative situation or an event. You could compare beliefs to an operating system of a computer. So basically, what Windows is for your laptop, our beliefs for your brain. For example, just to give you a quick example here, what could happen is that you're overburdened by work. How do you react to that? You're overloaded by work, the deadline is tomorrow, you're absolutely stressed out, you don't know if you can manage it. Let's say person A gives up because person A believes that they're not talented enough. The hardships, the extreme pressure, and the minimal results they get for their work, they have pretty much confirmed to them that they just don't have what it takes. And they feel weak, they feel insignificant, depressive, and they give up. Now, what does person B believe? Person B becomes excited, motivation skyrockets, and that is because person B believes that the daily challenge and the hardship are necessary to grow. Also, person B has coincidentally read, has some brain inside of course, has read that the flow state, that is the most productive and fulfilled state in the world, requires challenge slightly above his skill level. So in other words, he knows that he has to consistently challenge himself every single day if he wants to induce the flow state, and then, of course, make use of the flow state to be productive. So that aside, he believes that redoing the same shit, or the same stuff, my apologies, does not make him grow, because redoing the same stuff doesn't make him better. So as a result of all of these beliefs that he has, he loves to push himself. He goes to the limits, and he loves the rewarding feeling that he gets after doing his work. So person B, as soon as some stress kicks in, as soon as a challenge comes up, as soon as he's overburdened by work, again becomes extremely motivated. His inner competitive spirit is ignited, and his productivity skyrockets. Now, who do you think will succeed? Person A who loses all motivation, loses all hope in themselves, a person B who goes crazy. I think you know the answer. So do you see the enormous difference a different belief can make, a different belief mindset? So we have the exact same situation, and we have a completely different response. And it's pretty much not just your performance in career, but it matters for all of your life areas. Your beliefs dictate your relationships, your friends, how well you connect to people, that is. The ladies, of course. Sports, your happiness, how well you do in your hobbies, you name it. In other words, your subconscious beliefs are the operating system of your brain. They decide how you perceive the world, and they decide how you react to a given situation. And this is an enormous problem if we have limiting beliefs. I just flip in a few for you guys, the few common beliefs that you will probably find out there. And when you have one of these limiting beliefs, then they will block you. They will be shackles at your feet. They will sabotage you, and they will mess you up. Simply put, if your mind says, take action, but the belief says, don't, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, then you will fail. So what you ultimately need to do is to align both. So you need to have the conscious mind in line, that you have to set goals, take targeted action towards your goals, and on the other hand, you need to have beliefs, empowering beliefs, that support taking action in the long term. And that is how you will become a high performer yourself.